How's it going, everyone? Welcome back to the channel. If you follow me on Instagram, you know I've been making a ton of these wooden American flags the past couple months, and I get a lot of questions, so I thought I'd go ahead and make a whole video showing my process so you can make your own or even try and sell them and make some money with your woodworking like I have. Let's get started. For the size of flag that I make, all you need is one 10-foot 1x10. If I'm making a bunch of flags, I just buy anything from 1x4s to 1x10s as long as they're 10 foot. If you don't have a table saw to rip the boards down, you can start with 1x2s, which are actually 1.5 inches wide, perfect for this size of flag. I start by cleaning up the end of the board and then mark out 37 inches. Here I'm showing these flags really can be made with limited tools if you buy the 1x2s. It's a great way to start, and after you sell a couple flags, you can start upgrading your tools to make things easier. Once I have my 3 sections cut, I go ahead and get them sanded down before heading to the table saw. Then I set my table saw at 1.5 inches and then rip all the strips down. Once the stripes are cut, I go through and hit them with the torch. I prefer a nice, even, medium burn, but that's just my personal preference. Then I arrange the pieces for a nice randomized grain. Once I have the stripes lined up how I like, I square up the edge and take my union stencil to mark the edge. Here I'm taking some razor blades on the line I just marked and lightly tapping them in. This is a great way to cut the top grain to prevent the stain from bleeding and allow you to do both colors at the same time. The stain that I use is Minwax water-based tintable stain. The color names can vary depending where you get it, but I use the navy blue and crimson for the red. Also for the subdued thin line flags, I use true black from Minwax. Here you can see how the razor blades work. It's so much easier and faster than tape, and it leaves perfect crisp lines every time. Just apply a nice heavy coat and then wipe off the excess after a couple minutes. While the stain is drying, you can take a couple of extra stripes and chop them down for the back braces. After the stain is dry, I flip all the stripes over, being careful not to mix them up, and line up all the edges. Then I add a couple scrap pieces to protect the edges and add some clamps to snug them up. I do it this way because I know my table is flat and it allows me to tap on the back to get everything nice and even. Then I take the back braces and glue and brad nail them on. I have marks on the 2 outside scrap pieces so I can line these braces up quick and easy every time. Once the flag is together, I think it's important to go ahead and burn the back as well. I also use this really cool marker called the scorch marker to sign my name on the back. You just sign or do whatever design you want, and then a heat gun gives it a burnt look. Next, I tape the stencil on and start marking out all the stars. To carve the stars, I use the Dremel 4000. It's the second biggest one that Dremel makes, and you could use a smaller one to do this, but I like knowing it's capable of doing many other tasks as well. And personally, I really like using the upper end of the variable speed on this Dremel to do my carving. I find that it glides over the wood a lot easier, and it also stays very consistent and doesn't bog down under load. The stars for this size of flag can be completely carved with the 106 bit that comes included with my Dremel. But I recommend grabbing this carving kit as well that has the smaller 105 bit and the bigger 107 bit. If you're intimidated by this carving process, Dremel has a bunch of attachments to make it easier. This depth guide comes included with the kit and makes it really easy to set a consistent depth. This is the plunge router attachment, which is sold separate, but this makes it super easy to control and set a depth and see where you're carving. This is the setup that I use the majority of the time. It's the Dremel with the flex shaft attachment, which really makes it easy to control and helps hand fatigue. I also have the dust blower on the end, and that helps a ton to help keep the surface clear so you can see where you're carving. There's a million ways to do this, but my personal preference is to just get my hand and body in a comfortable position and go through and do all the lines going that direction. Then I just rotate the flag and work around it until they're all outlined without moving my body a ton of times. Just take your time and stay relaxed. I will say I've had quite a few buyers make sure that my stars were hand carved rather than CNC before they bought. People just really love that handmade character. Once they're all outlined, I go through and clear out the centers. Here I'm still using the 106 bit, but you can swap it out for the bigger 107 bit to make it a little faster. I wanted to show how the plunge router attachment works, and I usually use it for carving bigger designs, but I actually really liked using it on the stars and finished the rest of them this way. It helps give all the stars a consistent depth, and I also have the little dust blower attachment in there as well to keep the surface clear. You can see I'm able to get pretty sharp points just using the 106 bit. But I like to go through with the smaller 105 bit just to sharpen up any points that need it. Once all the stars are carved, I go through and hit them with a little torch so they're the same color as the white stripes. I wish I would have realized Dremel also made this butane torch a lot sooner. I wasted a ton of money on cheaper torches that wouldn't last long at all, and having to run to the store this close to finishing got really annoying. It also comes with other attachments so you can use it for other things, so I can't recommend this torch enough. It's well worth it. The next thing I do is spray it with a satin clear coat. If I'm just making a few flags, I'll use spray cans, but when I'm making bigger batches, I use my HomeRite sprayer with Minwax polyacrylic. After the second coat, I lightly sand with a high grit sandpaper and then spray the final coat. The last thing to do is add a way to hang it. I got this big roll of cable from Home Depot and it's way cheaper to buy this way. I simply pre-drill a hole between my center braces and then add a washer and screw through a loop that I put in the cable. Alright, thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. If you have any questions at all, just leave a comment below. I try to answer every single one. So I'll also leave all the products I use in the description. If this is your first time here, please like and subscribe. It really helps me out. I have a ton of big projects coming up that I'm going to be sharing, so stay tuned.